GameMasters here, and today we're going to check out the Draconic Gifts and what they are. Not to be confused with the Draconic feats of a similar name, the Gift of the Chromatic Dragon, Gift of the Gem Dragon, and Gift of the Metallic Dragon. Draconic Gifts are generally bestowed upon a character or possible NPC if they have killed a dragon or if they have some other connection to a dragon when it dies. For example, if they're a dragon's chosen heir. Sometimes these Draconic Gifts take the form of physical manifestations, and other times the gift is a sense or ability that a full-fledged dragon might naturally have. For obvious reasons, Dragonborn are the most likely to obtain a Draconic Gift, but as mentioned, if your character has some form of bond or connection to a dragon, it is possible to receive a Draconic Gift as well. While some of the Draconic Gifts can happen more often than others, there are some that could be considered legendary in being bestowed upon you. Generally speaking, the age of the dragon, more or less, determines the category of the gifts. More on that rarity as we go into what specific gifts there are. So let's check them out. As for physical manifestations, you can randomly roll on this chart, or you and your DM can come up with your own physical alteration. Draconic Familiar. This one's uncommon, so would likely be bestowed upon you by a wormling. Basically, you get a Draconic Familiar, which could contain a sliver of the consciousness of the dragon that passed the gift unto you. It takes the form of a pseudo-dragon, and when you take an attack action, you can instead have the pseudo-dragon make an attack of its own. A pseudo-dragon is basically a tiny little dragon, but one of the attacks it gets is Sting, which can potentially poison the target. The attack might not be all that effective against a higher level enemy, but lower level creatures with low constitution, they're going to have a difficult time handling this little guy. Draconic Rebirth. Also uncommon. In this gift, you become Dragonborn, losing the racial traits you originally had, but gaining the traits of a chromatic, gem, or metallic dragon. You can keep the skill proficiencies your previous race had, or you can pick new ones. And this goes without saying, but this is one of those Draconic Gifts that both players and DMs will need to really agree on the onset. Some players become super attached to their characters, and altering them in this way, well, one could certainly see how it could be a boon, where others might see it as just not fun if they're not expecting it to happen. Draconic Senses. This one is a rare gift, so it would come from a young dragon. In essence, you gain blind sight up to 10 feet, and keen senses, you gain advantage on wisdom perception checks. Blind sight basically allows you to see without using your eyes. You perceive the area around you, similar to how an ooze might see. It doesn't have eyes, but it can sense where you are. Now, before we continue, I'd like to ask if you could attack that like button. It helps me to see how much these videos are, well, liked, and lets me know if I need to make more. I genuinely thank you. Echo of Dragonsight. This is slotted in as being very rare, so it would come from an adult dragon. This one on the surface seems to be quite powerful, allowing you to cast Contact Other Plane as a ritual. Now, one thing to keep in mind, Dragonsight allows a dragon to communicate with echoes or manifestations of its other selves across other planes. So the contact that you make will be with the echo of the dragon that gave you this gift. Depending on how the gift was obtained, could easily impact how that echo reacts to you. For example, if you killed the dragon and you received the gift versus if the dragon gave this to you because you are its heir. Frightful Presence. This one also categorizes as very rare. Frightful Presence allows you to use the dragon's might to inspire fear among others. As a bonus action, you can bring forth your Frightful Presence, and the witness must make a DC equal to 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus your charisma modifier. If it fails, it's scared of you for 1 minute. Psionic Reach. Also considered very rare, Psionic Reach would mainly come from a gem dragon and gives you resistance to psychic damage. But wait, there's more! You also gain the telekinesis spell, which you can cast without expending a spell slot. You can't cast it again without a long rest, and you choose Intelligence, Wisdom, or Charisma as the spellcasting ability when you gain the gift. Scaled Toughness. This is a legendary gift and would come from an ancient dragon. This would be a physical manifestation as your skin would toughen, giving you resistance to piercing and slashing damage. One could suppose that your skin color could change, perhaps even accompanied by scales, possibly reflecting the type of dragon that gave this gift to you. Tongue of the Dragon. This one is of uncommon rarity, so back to Wormling. In essence, you can speak, read, and write Draconic. You can cast your voice up to 300 feet away for 1 minute, and you also get an advantage on Charisma persuasion check. One thing I'd like to add is keep in mind that these are just additional flavors for your character, and as mentioned, if you are going this route, there's a good chance that you and your DM should discuss this in session 0 if you're rolling up a new character. For obvious reasons, gaining Scaled Toughness at level 1, that might be a little overpowered. Likewise, if you as a DM are wanting to incorporate Fizban's Treasury of Dragons into an already established campaign, these gifts are an awesome way to add more depth and connections to the dragons that your players will encounter. Just be sure that your players are all on board before you grant them gifts that could potentially alter their character's development. Of course, you don't have to limit yourself to just these gifts. A crafty player, and of course a crafty DM, could most certainly come up with their own style of Draconic gifts. Let me know what kind of gifts you would create in the comments below. And until next our paths cross, may your pseudo-dragon never accidentally poison you.